Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. And come on, kid. There we go. Thanks for my light here. It likes to focus on if there's an actual face on the screen. I can't control it, apparently. Today we're talking about The Kid Who Would Be King. This is a 2019 film that came out in January of that year. It's 2 hours and 1 minute long, and it stars the son of Gollum. Well, okay, not the son of Gollum, but it's a Louis Ashbourne Serkis. Yeah, Andy Serkis's kid in the lead role of a Joe Cornish movie. What does that mean, Joe Cornish? Well, I believe he's a British writer and director who is responsible for movies you might know, like Attack of the Block, also took place with a few older kids, teens, who are from the poorer part of town in London fighting aliens. In this case, we have a bunch of 12-year-olds and their bullies fighting Morgana, the ancient evil, the ancient foe of King Arthur himself. And yeah, what are you going to do with that? Well, you're going to get the sword Excalibur. You're going to pull it from the stone. And thus begins this hero's journey of a kid who is completely ordinary, who is lives with his single mom. Oh, by the way, you'll recognize a single mom who, remember the last time you saw Andy Serkis probably? Oh, yeah, he was in Andor, Star Wars Andor. His mom, the kid's mom in this, played by Denise Denise Goughh. She played Dedra, the very uptight, moving up kind of imperial one who was kind of creeped on by the lower level guy. If you saw Andor, you know what I'm talking about. The blonde, yeah. She plays his mom. So there's a lot of little connections throughout this. But Joe, this is written and directed also by Joe Cornish, who has a knack for pretty much putting kids up against impossible odds. And this is very much I don't want to call it a kids film necessarily. It is focused definitely. The audience is definitely for kids. But imagine if it was a PG film that actually kind of had some kind of scary monsters in it. Like, these kids go up against flaming skeleton men on flaming skeleton horses wielding swords, and the way they shoot them, the way they do them, they look really menacing. And so you might not want to have this to watch for your 5-year-old. Might have some nightmares. But 9, 10, 11 and up, yeah, no problem on this, unless they're really sensitive, but no judgment. But in this, yeah, it's a bunch of kids who get together and fight the greatest evil that England has ever known, not counting Voldemort. So yeah. By the way, speaking of which, this movie does not make any assumptions that it's completely new concept. Yes, it's a Joseph Campbell structured type of story. You know, the hero is called, the hero rejects it, the hero is, it's all the stuff that goes into a thing like Star Wars or Harry Potter. It's just all these movies are referenced, all these stories, and not just movies. Lord of the Rings is referenced. Han and Chewie, the two best friends, him and his best friend. Where is his name? Played by Dean Chamu, his betters, Bedivere. So, yeah. Oh yeah, Alex is the name of the kid. He plays Alex. Sounds like could be the son of Arthur. No, not directly. He is not the son of Arthur. Let's just be clear. But yeah, I mean, if you know the King Arthur legend and the Knights of the Round Table and all of this, it takes a few liberties here and there, but for the most part, it deals with everything you kind of know that comes out of the whole mythology of that, and even tells you that story in the very beginning. Its version of it in some pretty cool animated sequence. I would watch a movie that's just animated that way. If they just did that the entire time, I would watch that movie. That would be great. Yeah. It almost feels a little bit like a video game, introduction scene to us in a sense, but it's a little bit more robust than that. It's really nice. And in fact, I think this movie kind of got undersold. Like I said, it came out in January 2019, and I think it disappeared almost instantly. It's a 20th Century Fox film, so it was acquired around that time that Disney was taking stuff from Fox, and it kind of, I don't know if it just really got the notice it should have. This is maybe, and again, I saw somebody mention on here that they're like, maybe this is not a kind of movie we would have gone to, like, raced out to the theater to see, because these days the only things we go out to see, that we race out to see, are Marvel movies or Star Wars, or maybe hopefully Dune at some point. Those kind of things that are big spectacle type films. And this has a good amount of spectacle to it, and it has also children fighting monsters, which the British are so good at. Harry Potter, but hey, this is definitely one more of those. It's the kind of thing that it's not based on a young adult children's novel, but it's its own thing. But again, it borrows heavily from the Arthurian legend. Of course, you gotta have all those parallels in this. It even has a Merlin. In fact, it has two Merlins. Well, it's one Merlin played by two actors. First of which is, where is his name, by the way? Come on, where are you? Young Merlin, Angus Imrie. Now, you might recognize him. His voice was in Star Trek Prodigy for a little bit. He's in Fleabag. He's in The Crown Prince Edward, and he was in a bunch of stuff. The Archers. Yeah, he's all over the place. But he is very engaging as an actor. He's funny. He's kind of the Merlin's eccentric, so he's got this kind of twisted look on things, and he's there to assist the new holder of Excalibur in this great battle. Except there's certain rules that he has to hold to that in order to interact with the boy, which leaves the boy and his friends and enemies alone at certain times of the day, that they have to make decisions of their own and battle on. They're not given a shortcut through Merlin, who is immensely powerful in his own. It's just that, you can't have Merlin fight all the battles. The hero has to win the day. So how's that happen? Well, I'm not going to give any of that away. No, I'm not going to give any of that away. But the great thing about all this is that, like I said, Merlin's played by two actors. That guy, Angus Imrie, and Patrick Stewart, who I got to see just a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago, in the flesh at the finale of the Picard series finale. And that was kind of fantastic. So, yeah, I have a video here of my experience somewhere in my video, in the videos that we have here. So yeah, if you get a chance, check that out. So yeah, Patrick Stewart plays an older Merlin, and he's just as eccentric. It's kind of cool to see Patrick Stewart dressed in a Led Zeppelin t-shirt. That's just me. That's just neat. So, and he's certainly not the button-down and completely smooth, bald Captain Picard in this, or Professor X. He is very much a different character in this. So it's kind of cool to see him in this. He is not in it a lot, even though he may have shown up in the trailer more than a few times to draw people in and go, oh, Patrick Stewart's doing something. He is in it, but he does not have a lot of scenes. They're important scenes. Just don't go in it for like, oh my gosh, it's going to be a great Patrick Stewart adventure. No. Just be sure. Just be clear on that. So there's a lot of humor, a lot of clever turns and things like that. But again, it's some of it's it has to lead to its inevitable kind of big battle thing that everybody seems to have to feel like they have to have in these movies. It all does whittle down to a one-on-one kind of personal battle type of thing with our hero and main heroes versus the villain. But for the most part, it's also kind of a big fantasy thing where some kids might imagine themselves being part of this battle as well against a great evil. In a time of great evil. There is probably no accident that this came out in 2019, and is at a time where it's they don't go into any details and they don't name any names or be very specific about it, but the world is in chaos. The normal world is just, we're at war with each other, in even if we're not literally going to battle. It's just that everybody is hateful, everybody's cruel, everybody's at each other's throats. And at this point, even though Boris Johnson's not mentioned, he is the Prime Minister of England at the time. What can anyone do? It's everybody's against each other rather than against any evil, and that leaves us vulnerable to evil. And that's kind of one of the big messages in this film, if there is a message that you need to grasp onto. But yeah, most of all, it's fun. The kids are likable, and it's got plenty of humor, adventure, some pretty intense battle scenes. The only fault I have in this, but it's for expediency's sake and for the fact that, you know what, you don't want these kids in a really tough bind here. Sure, the kids got Excalibur, but if these are demonic hordes from the underworld and flaming skeletons on horses, you can't make them too hard to beat. They come at you really strong. They look at you. They look really scary. But guess what? Yeah, hit them with the right thing. Tap them with the sword. Or you hit them with a car, or they trip over a rope. They just crumble. they don't take hits very well. They got 0 hit points. But when they're standing on their feet and they're swinging swords, they are not holding back. So it's the way they motion cap. I guess it's motion cap. The way these creatures move. It doesn't feel like you're fighting they're fighting a video game villain. It doesn't feel fake. It feels like they're really there, and it's pretty dang creepy. So yeah, that adds some weight to the battle scenes, even if they're fairly really easy to beat. So, but yeah, these kids are just brand new. They've only been holding swords for like a day or two. So by the time the final battle comes, they got to teach a bunch of other kids how to battle. And what do you got? 2 hours? What are you going to do? So yeah, I spoiled a little bit there, but you kind of see it coming. And when you think it's over, it's not over. You think, oh man, that was a really easy win. Yeah, an easy win. So yeah, that's pretty much how that goes. Let's pick. Oh my gosh, did I reset everything just because I plugged it in? Dang it! Come on, technology. But yeah, I think if you like Arthurian legend, if you like stories like that, and you need something it's fully PG, there's no swearing or sex or suggestive stuff or anything else. It's a good, fun film. The whole family can enjoy. I think it's something you can sit down on the couch. And I know Disney Plus has a lot of stuff to dig through that you may have seen 50 times. But you know what? There's something you may not have seen. Probably not. Most people didn't see this. Oh, I forgot to say, Joe Cornish, he's written a bunch of stuff other than his own stuff he's directed, but he also wrote Ant-Man. So yeah, he's the writer for Ant-Man. So if you're a Marvel nerd and you liked Ant-Man, you get an idea of his sensibilities for character and things like that and for storytelling. So anyway, let's pick tomorrow's episode.
343.
Wow, we moved out of the 400s. For the first time in forever, it seems like it. 343. What do you got here for me? Oh my. I don't know if I saw this. Huh. It's entirely possible I didn't. But it's a Pixar film. One of the more forgettable Pixar films. So I could be forgiven for that. It's a spin-off, though, of a major, major Pixar film. We're going to be watching Planes. No, not cars. Planes. There are 2 Planes films that were out within a few months of each other because they needed to make more toys, I think. So because the toys sold really well and they still do to this day. Anyway, we're watching Planes next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with it.